Hey everyone, welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny, that is Dylan, and that is Hassan. And today, I trapped the two most negative people on this channel into a chat in which they can only be positive. They can only be positive.
There's no way that we're the two most negative.
You're being negative right now, Hassan. You're being negative right now.
You hear what I'm saying? Benny, there's no way.
You're being negative. You're being negative
pal.
right now. And today's episode is brought to you
that.
by our sponsor, Into the AM. They're doing a great sale over at their shop right now for Black Friday. You can go over there, use our code Absolutely, get yourself some really cool t-shirts. I didn't have the geisha one today, but I'll have it back again.
Geisha.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
No, big difference.
Stop being negative. Stop being negative, Hassan.
Negative is correcting you? That I'm the most negative person on the planet, man. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about
Benny
ever.
Doesn't agree with.
Stop being negative, Hassan. Dan,
you know what?
What's your name? You're Dylan. You're D.
You thought you gave us this topic and said it's going to be Dylan and Hassan bully Benny. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, though, what I want to do today is now that Phase 4 is officially done, first thing I want to do is spoil the entirety of Black Panther for Dylan. Then we're going to look at all the...
I have one more day, hopefully.
Then we're going to look at all... I want to go through the positive elements that did come out of Phase 4. That's what I want to look at today. Because I feel like all we ever really do recently, just like everyone else on the internet, is on all the negative stuff that came out. But Phase 4 wasn't as big of a dumpster fire as channels such as ourselves make it out to be at times. So I thought it'd be fun to look at what the positive elements were and what the overarching story is. Because there is an overarching story, as we discovered with Secret Wars and whatever that other one, Kang Dynasty, what those are going to lead to.
Yeah,
Sweet.
Which I'm sure they came up with about a year ago and had no idea what they were doing.
I don't think that's the case, actually.
Sorry,
I
being
think
negative.
you're wrong, Dylan.
I want to start with that one real quick. Because if we look at everything that briefly touched upon, now bear in mind, Phase 4, what I think the actual problem with Phase 4 is, at the end of the day, is just too much content. And we're going to go through everything that came out at one time, because I think the overall narrative did get lost in that mix. Phase 4 officially kicked off in 2021 with WandaVision, which means all like 14 things I'm about to go through all came out from WandaVision's March release to now.
No.
Yeah.
Surely not.
Yeah.
I thought that was the end of 2020.
No.
That's crazy.
I've got them all up right here, yeah. So that's
it's been
why...
a year?
About a year and a half, all of this has come out.
No.
I think we have to, right? Didn't things
No
come
Way
out?
Home was 2021.
No Way Home was December of 2021, though.
Yeah.
It was the last movie.
Yeah.
January 15th was the release date of WandaVision, which kicked off Phase 4.
January. I thought you were saying the end of 2021 was the start of WandaVision.
I said
that was
2021.
breaking my brain.
I thought it was March. It ended in March. So
Okay, so it's been 2 years almost.
But the first thing I want to look at is the stuff that actually ties into that overarching narrative of the multiverse basically going crazy and we have to fight against it. Because we did have WandaVision. We did have Loki. We did have What If. We did have, movie-wise, we had Spider-Man No Way Home. We had Doctor Strange. Right. So in a year and a half, we had 5 projects pointing towards the Kang Dynasty situation. And the very first show linked up to that. It led into we're having a big issue.
Yeah, I think because they released that infographic at the start of Phase 4 where it was like, this is what everything's being linked to. And the strongest links were like WandaVision into Loki, into No Way Home, into Multiverse of Madness. Then everything else was just like nebulously outside of that. So, I think they did have plans. I think they had plans more so for introducing the multiverse than specifically what they were going to do leading into Secret Wars or stuff, but who knows?
Well, think about this for a moment, though. If we go back in time to like Phase 1 and 2, we would get like 2 movies a year leading into a big event movie. We'd get like 6 projects that led into an event movie, and they were all loosely in there. They all got like retconned and fixed to even make it work. So we didn't have like 14 projects coming out in a year and a half. So 5 of them pointing to the multiverse over the span actually leads to the style of, hey, they had post-credit scenes and they hinted
Do we have a total? How many?
I've got them all listed right here. I just didn't count it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Okay.
17 things. Hassan, what do you think? You're being all quiet.
I'm being quiet because... No, I'm kidding.
So I want to talk. First, we'll talk about those 5. Those 5 projects leading to the Kang Dynasty arc.
I'm just having my brain's just trying to understand how little time has passed and how much life has changed. When Phase 1 started, I still lived in my when this phase started, I lived in my parents' house and I had my studio in their basement. I've lived in an entirely different house and another different house since then.
And it's only been a year. We're going on 2 years now. Like we'll be at when this is over. Crazy. The last official project in the phase is Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
That's awesome.
So when that drops, we'll officially have done 2 years for Phase 4.
Yeah, that's gonna keep me up tonight, Benny. Thank you. Cool.
But see, this is the point I'm getting at. So I counted out 17 on this list that count as Phase 4 projects. 5 of them point to the overarching narrative. That means that we had 12 things doing other stuff in the MCU, which is where I think the message got muddied, and people are like, "Oh my God, there's no goal. It's all going everywhere," because there's just too much doing other stuff.
They also front loaded it with the multiverse stuff. Like Multiverse of Madness was Multiverse of Madness right after No Way Home.
No Way Home was December. Multiverse of Madness was May this year. It was the order came out. It was WandaVision first, then Loki came out mid last year, and then Spider-Man at the end of the year, and then Doctor Strange in May. What if came out at the end of last year too? So the only thing this year was Multiverse of Madness.
So I think that's another thing is like, because humans have recency bias. Like we've been talking about the problem with Phase 4 for so long because I think they like stopped after Multiverse of Madness. They're like, okay, we're done with multiverse stuff until we get back to it, and we just haven't really gotten back to it since then. So because I don't know if we had these complaints early on because it was WandaVision and a Falcon and Winter Soldier was just like that was a weird kind of fun show into this is a more normal show.
Right.
So,
well, that was during the era where their theory was that we were getting a cosmic side and a street side. So WandaVision was going to lead into our cosmic stuff while Falcon and Winter Soldier was going to lead into our street stuff.
Which I hope is still what they're doing with Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars being 2 different movies.
Right, and I want to go with the other arc that they're kind of building up to, which has been actually linked together loosely, is the Thunderbolt situation.
Yeah.
We're going to go through each of these individually in a minute, but the other thing, if you look at the Thunderbolt situation, Black Widow links into that, so it actually has a part of that. Falcon Winter Soldier links into that. Right. I mean, and then depending on where you want to go with it, we could even do loop in things like Hawkeye or stuff like that.
Yeah,
and then
Hawkeye's
there's also
definitely
but it all leads towards that Thunderbolt situation. I mean, even Black Panther, which seems to be kind of doing its own storyline involving vibranium, also links into the Thunderbolt saga. And then on top of all of that, we also have what is potentially the beginnings of a young Avengers. Everyone's been hyping up young Avengers. So
that's what I think Kang Dynasty is going to culminate in. I hope, not think.
Thoughts, Hudson?
There's definitely like a through line that was thought through that really wasn't clear early on. I'm seeing it now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you actually look at it lined up like this.
No, I definitely think that like we did the thing that comic book fans often do, and we got angry before we had the whole like puzzle piece. Like we had the puzzle solved. We had just a bunch of pieces. We're like, this just doesn't even fit. It's like, well, we're missing some, and eventually it will fit together. So, and a lot of things like Spider-Man: No Way Home feels like they did a good job of. It ties into all of this, but it's still in its own world. It's like that movie we get to experience a consequence of what's happening in the greater universe to lead to the big event rather than the thing itself. So,
but ultimately, like it's more so about the story of the actual character as opposed to just the, plot of the entire universe.
Well, I mean, all the other movies are like that. I mean, we all seem to have you put it, blinders to the previous movies, but like
Captain America, Madness exists.
Well, what I'm saying is like phases 1 through 3. A lot of those movies didn't directly link to anything. Yeah, like everyone likes to be like, oh, it's such a grand plan. It really wasn't. They would all have a post-credit scene or a cameo.
Right.
But the movies themselves are all about the individual characters. Yeah. Like you can't tell me Ant-Man 1 did anything other than introduce the Quantumverse. That's all it did.
Guardians is a fantastic example of that because that's a movie that like came out of nowhere. Ant-Man's a good one too. Ant-Man has less connections, but like Guardians is a very important movie to the overall plot because it's the first time we really get to see Thanos, and we get introduced to the stones and everything. But ultimately, that movie is about the Guardians, not about the MCU. And I think that's like that's something that Phase 4 kind of lost with most of its projects. Was I mentioned Multiverse of Madness earlier? It's like that movie isn't about Doctor Strange really. It has a story about him in there, but it's buried under multiverse, right. Which is a problem that No Way Home flipped on its head, where it's like the multiverse stuff is buried over Peter's story. Yeah. So like that's. and like I think a lot of these complaints come out of the Phase 4 projects just in general not being as good as the stuff that came before it. So people are more open to criticizing them.
There's more stuff coming out, and just by sheer volume of what has come out, there's going to be some duds in that, which have problems. Writing's going to suffer. VR visual effects are going to suffer. When you're going from like 6 between the phases to 17. You know, like Disney's not giving them an unlimited budget. I don't think we should have done 17, but that's a different discussion for a different day.
No.
I think that there's definitely a conversation to be made about that and the quality and the difference in quality, right? I also think that you go back to WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the MCU was a global conversation amongst like your average everyday people. And I'm going to talk, this is very anecdotal. This isn't, Benny, don't pull out analytics on me here, but just very much like in my hometown. It's all
opinion based today. So
yeah. So in my hometown, there are people who like got into Avengers and like got into everything during like the Avengers Endgame era, right? So they watched all the movies then, and they were really excited when WandaVision came out. Everybody really loves Elizabeth Olsen, so it was even more popular, right? And then Falcon and the Winter Soldier, still really big part of the conversation. I remember people talking about, or Loki, really big part of the conversation. And then it was after that like What If came out. And when I tell you everybody I knew that was like, oh my God, the MCU is doing shorts, completely quit watching other than the hardcore fans. I mean, all of them did. What If like put a sour taste in them because, you know, say what you want. I think What If had some cool ideas. I think the T'Challa Star-Lord episode's really strong.
Very different.
It's very different, and I don't think I didn't like it all that much, especially because at the end of the day, it did not tie in even a little bit to what happened later. It introduced concepts, but didn't tie in.
Right.
And I didn't like the animation style. Again, very subjective to me personally.
Totally fair. No. What If was kind of a divisive project. You're not sitting there.
But it knocked so many people off of it. So many people that were in love and obsessed with this overarching narrative. Twitter used to go like even crazier than it does now because like, oh my God, what's Marvel putting out? What's Marvel putting out? And in my brain, I have like 4 people that are such, in the nicest way, they're so normal. They're such normie people that were so obsessed with this. Like they were putting stuff on their regular Instagram stories that like are usually like nothing, like college posts. And then they're posting about Marvel stuff, Marvel memes. But since What If hasn't been a thing like that. Like no one's really been talking about the MCU.
Spider-Man came out after that.
Spider-Man happened, and it was a moment. It still felt different than that. Like Spider-Man was very successful, and it was a global conversation. I think you're right in that sense, but it felt different than it wasn't part of this post-Endgame. Everyone's obsessed with the MCU conversation. It was Spider-Man. The 3 guys are together. COVID is almost over. It's Christmas. Like it has its own global conversations and stuff.
I think it also I have a friend like that too he's just not very critical of you know media, movies and TV. He's more critical about games and stuff. But like every time a new Marvel thing comes out, he'll watch it and I'll ask him. I'm like, "What'd you think?" And he just says it was good. Like that's where it stops. And I think that's the especially with the MCU, that's sort of the status quo for a lot of people is they just watch it and they're like, "That was fine."
Yeah.
And that, you know, people aren't getting as excited about it because there's so many factors, right? Like there's the fact that these projects aren't as good, even if they don't recognize that or they don't agree with that. There's a lot more coming out, which is just, you know, making people tired of it. I know we've talked about this before. It's how the culture in general has sort of changed where like it's cool to not like Marvel stuff now.
Yeah.
We've reverted back to that.
Yeah.
Which definitely was not the case. Definitely wasn't the case a year ago. Or not a year ago, yes, it was the case. Wasn't a case in what I'm talking about, that post-Endgame era, where I feel like everybody was just ready to love something. I think had Endgame happened, and then like Shang-Chi immediately after, right? Endgame, WandaVision, that... Wait, when did Shang-Chi come out? Shang-Chi came out beforehand. Am I losing my mind? I'm losing my mind.
Shang-Chi
Don't listen to me for a second.
Shang-Chi was 2021. No, I think it was like November last year. I'm looking it up.
Yeah. It was just, Shang-Chi came out in a place where it didn't hit as much as like the MCU shows
August
had been
16th.
Hitting. Yeah, it was after the hype.
That was Los Angeles. Then it came out September 3rd. It was September 3rd.
Yeah, I think that movie came out in such like a bad time. I feel like Hassan, if it would have came out earlier, people would have loved it more because it's just, that movie rules. Like I rewatched it recently. I love that movie.
So before we go into each, because I'm going to make us go over one thing we liked about each and every one of these movies, I did want to talk about that. Things that Phase 4
We're going to shill. Let's go.
What?
We're not shilling, Dylan. You're Dylan.
Shilling
okay?
would imply that they're going to pay us for this.
I'm getting ahead of the comments.
They're not paying us for this. I just get
they're
sick
not.
I'm just tired of going on all my feeds.
We've never been
and it's just
sponsored
nothing but
by
negativity.
Marvel.
And I'm like, yes, it's all negative. Yes, we can all shit on She-Hulk. We can all fight problems with Moon Knight. But at the same time, there's people who enjoyed each one of these projects. And they all were complete flops. Like, there are pros in most of these. Most of them.
Totally.
But but the other thing I want to talk about is one of the things that I feel, so we established that there was the multiverse story. It went through 5 of them. One thing that I think they did a really good job with this one, a lot of these side projects did a good job of bringing out representation in the MCU. And I know for some people that's like, oh, I don't want to hear that word. And you're right. But by doing that, if you don't want to hear representation, by doing representation, the MCU has expanded exponentially the amount of things that we have involved. Think about the stuff that Shang-Chi introduced to the MCU. I think
Incredible
it's Taolao. How do you pronounce that? The other world he goes to?
I don't remember. So I'm
okay,
not
but
try
they had that
pronounce
whole other universe, dragons, the mystical arts, all of that got introduced over there. Eternals introduced an entire spacefaring celestials in who knows how many civilizations.
And they introduced Bollywood. Crazy stuff.
and Bollywood. Yeah. Moon Knight introduced an Egyptian superhero, and while I have my issues with Moon Knight really not being a part of it, the fact that this whole thing took place over there is still pretty cool. Like, we got to see pyramids and Egyptian lore and all that kinds of stuff. So
yeah, they definitely. It's interesting for a movie franchise that has gone to space and back. It's only after they introduced the multiverse that we're like, let's leave America.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, up until now, we've been mostly in America and Sokovia.
Yeah, which is like somewhere in Europe.
Well, it's
but like
Miss
Marvel alone introduced like a whole different flavor and flair.
Forgot about Miss Marvel.
Yeah, if you cut out all of the Pakistan stuff, it was really cool. Miss Marvel's version of like how they represented Jersey and stuff.
But they did go to Pakistan. They did. You know what I mean? They went over there. And they did that.
They physically have gone a lot of places in Phase 4.
And like I said, even if you're one of the audience who's like, I don't care about representation, that's fine. You can have your own opinions. But at the end of the day, by doing that, we've expanded the MCU exponentially across the world.
I don't know why, but as you're saying that, I'm just imagining Kevin Feige holding up like a children's book, Oh, the Places You'll Go, while all the Avengers actors sit crisscross, and just like sitting there on a carpet. Oh, the places you'll go. To Pakistan you'll go. To just like keep reading it off a list like in a Dr. Seuss format.
Thank you, Kevin.
And then I also want to look at the fact that not only that, but they've tried new things finally in the MCU. Look, love them or hate the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah, that was a whole month.
Marvel for 2 years has now been like, we can also do TV set in the same world. We know you liked the Netflix shows. We know you liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I didn't have a hand in that. This is Kevin Feige doing that. You know, I didn't have a hand in those. But here's what happens if I have a hand in all the projects. You know,
I didn't make those. The robot.
So they broke into the streaming services, and they tried longer format, shorter format. I think now they're starting to figure out how they want to handle it. You know, I feel like Falcon Winter Soldier is the example of a long movie, but by the time we got to like She-Hulk and Miss Marvel, it's like, this is a show. I'm watching a show. This isn't a movie anymore.
Episodic.
And I like the idea of like, hey, we have the episodic movies and we have the shows. Yeah. I like that we can mix and match that. Have characters that maybe aren't ready, they're not fleshed out enough to be in huge, big budget films. Give them the fleshing out that they need. Give them the backstory they need. It's a cool place to do that, as opposed to like a tie-in comic book or a tie-in video game, which is what we often did in the past. So that's a fun idea. And I really want them to execute it well.
And for me, I love the fact that we explored all these different lores and mythologies. I'm someone who enjoys mythologies and lores that aren't American. Because we don't have anything interesting. We have things like Paul Bunyan and like the Jersey Devil. I love ancient medieval Europe. I love ancient Egypt. I love Norse mythology. Like, I love everything else.
I love Mayan culture, and not to spoil anything for Dylan, but Mayan culture and like that part of the world.
I'll try to avoid that. But yeah, Mayan culture touched on in Wakanda forever.
Is in,
I mean, I've seen.
You know that much, right?
Like.
But like, it was. I like went to Riviera Maya as a kid. It's one of my fondest memories was going there and like going to Mayan temples and all that stuff. So it was so exciting to see it on screen. And then seeing the people in my timeline that are Hispanic, Latino, and like have families that are from that areas or have heritage there. Oh my God, they were so excited to feel seen too. Yeah. It's like that part's cool too. We get to explore rich history and give it, kind of give it the fictional twist that it needs too. Like it's very fun. And
I do want to say, for those who are like, why? Oh, what do you mean American mythology only started when we came to America? You go to these ancient areas of the world, and you got mythology all the way back to like the invention of man. And America, it's like we came over, we were chopping down wood, so we made Paul Bunyan. Like
I'm still waiting for them to mythologize like you know how you ever play that? Wait, no, yeah, Benny, I know about this game because you played it in Uneligible Monster back in the day. The game where like it's a fighting game where you could be Jesus and you would like break parts of the cross off. Yeah. I need them to mythologize that more.
But like, absolutely. So for me, as someone who just wants to see how big the MCU can get, this is a lot of fun because Shang-Chi dips into ancient Chinese history, Mandarin history, and stuff like that. Eternals dips into all kinds of cultures. And Bollywood.
The main one. Which, you know what I mean? You can have your issues with Eternals because I know that is like a very polarized film and not many people like it. I'm one of those people that has a rough time with it, but at the same time, it's like, I love the world building. I love a lot of the characters. My biggest issue with that movie, the characters and things are underutilized because they're really cool ideas and they're just like, he's gonna skip the entire third act, even though he's the first Southeast Asian character to ever be in a film like this, and he's super powerful and hilarious. Like things like that. Like it's cool that we even have the potential for. Like I'm so excited to see Kumail Nanjiani come back as Kingo. Yeah. I really am. That actor, the way his body transformation, like just that Southeast representation, he had to do this movie, so he got incredibly ripped for it. That was a big deal to a lot of people that like a brown guy can look like that after looking like that for 40 years. What? And then on top of that, he was funny, he was charismatic, he was completely himself. So like that opened the door to having like maybe a brown lead down the road in a movie like this. That's awesome. Like I dream of that.
Yeah, and I do want to say, because the chat's already saying actually, but I know not everything I'm saying is 100% accurate about different mythologies. I'm just stating a point. I don't need if you want to fact check me, go right ahead in the comments down below. I'm fine with that.
I would personally, if Marvel is listening, stop being scared of China. Give me some more queer representation, please, God.
Yeah, that'd be which like
it's not Marvel, it's Disney. You got kisses. We got the kisses. It took us like 50 years to get to a kiss. It's gonna take 50 more years. And maybe the kiss will be more than like, mwah. All right.
Yeah. It's like you want to make stuff that represents the world we live in, and for the people that are angry, like that's not real life. I got tons of gay friends, and they deserve to be in Marvel movies as much as everybody else. They're like around me.
I've always said, like, everybody likes to argue, like, what about this, what about that? And my argument's always been, not everything is for you. Everything is made for a different audience, and not everything is made to make tons of money. Yes, I get it. This supposedly woke book with woke representation won't sell as well, but maybe it wasn't made for that. Maybe they approved it because they just want to get that out there, and that's it.
I think
it's for those people.
I think that the MCU is just like Dark Souls, because it might not be for you.
Yeah. Well, I think if your life representation is everything you've ever experienced is this little thing, the world is like that. So imagine all of your opinions, they live in this bubble. All my opinions, they live in this bubble. But you travel, you meet more people, it expands. Benny's been able to travel a lot. I've been able to travel a lot. So I think our perspectives as far as like why we're just like, oh, that's awesome, even if it has nothing to do with us. Like,
I can appreciate a lot of stuff.
My God, what does Mayan culture have to do with me other than I like it? Like nothing, but it's awesome.
I had an argument with somebody because he caught me in a morning, and this guy likes to hit me up randomly on Twitter on DMs, and he'll just say like, your opinion on this sucks or this sucks. And so he hit me up one day, and he's like, this is a good opinion, and I responded with, I'll even pull it up real fast. I'll just say my side because I'm not going to put this guy. The guy turned out to be pretty friendly in the end, but like his argument is that I should have been. It's the same guy that I said before that wanted me to be on the Flash reviews because he wanted my opinion on that and didn't want me on the She-Hulk reviews. So like, where did he hit me up? Yeah, watch the Wakanda Forever review, and in the first 5 minutes you say you like She-Hulk, but you hated Flash. You lost all credibility, bro. I doubt your ability to review stories now moving forward. L opinion. So I responded with...
L opinion, dude. I watched Gideon.
I responded with the fact that you think your opinion is the only opinion to be held, and anybody who disagrees holds an L, just shows your inability to review any product within the MCU as piss poor in general. To be unable to accept how others may look at things differently than you right off the bat shows you don't understand nuance. I said countless times I watch shitty sitcoms for fun, and it was a shitty sitcom. Therefore, I enjoyed it.
It's also like people have this weird idea in their head that there's a correct opinion on media, and that watching a reviewer's opinion or taking their opinion in, if it's different than yours, immediately invalidates it. It doesn't, because like, especially the joy of a channel like this, where all of us have our own opinions on stuff and there's never really a fully 100% consensus on something, is that
right. But you are wrong about Pokemon, and if you want to know what I talk about, that, go see our YouTube memberships.
you can keep watching our videos and get an idea for what we like. Like you can sort of make a guess of like what I might like, what Benny might like, what Hassan might like, and that will help you sort of rationalize like what is good about a certain product. Like you can start to expect things and see them from different perspectives, which helps you enlighten your own perspective more, like strengthen it. Like, especially like one of the best things to do is, if you have an opinion, negative or positive, on something, is get other people's opinions and try to rationalize why you don't think that way. And that will probably make you end up having a greater appreciation for the thing that you were criticizing to begin with.
And that is genuinely a fun activity. Like,
just to throw on to that, we're not saying you have to change your opinion at all. Just understand why somebody else might enjoy something. That's all.
Exactly, because that would strengthen it. Like, that would be a better argument.
With this guy in particular, I talked for like an hour, and then we just started chit-chatting like normal. So
good. With last night, me and Sal hopped on the phone for a little bit, and we were talking about comic book stuff, but we were getting into opinions, and I was reading one of the comments from Benny and Sal reviewed Black Panther, and this comment was about Spider-Man No Way Home. It was completely unrelated, and I was talking about Sal, how 90% of the time me and Sal completely agree on literally everything. Like, we have the exact same opinions, and I was like, but here's an opinion we probably don't share, because someone said, I totally agree with Sal on that Spider-Man No Way Home was just a glorified cameo fest, and it didn't have substance or whatever. And to which Sal was like, I didn't say that.
Yeah, that's not what he thinks at all.
Like he was like, what do you mean by that? And we had a good laugh about it. But that, like, then me and Sal were like, okay, so the guy who commented that, he thinks that he heard like a tiny little piece of his opinion somehow in something Sal said, and then he extrapolated it to be this entire other thing, because it was more similar to like what he was thinking. So that's kind of fun, but I really, really love that. That, like, everybody gets to have their own opinion. I think that if you think No Way Home is a cameo fest, you're foolish. It's a good movie that has cameos are the wrong word for it.
Also has cameos in it.
Yeah.
That's another like a lot of people that you'll find this pattern very quickly is people who are so hard fast in their opinions lack empathy, and they don't know how to listen, and that, like, because that immediately is just like so they can't understand your point of view because they don't have any empathy, and they won't listen to it to begin with because they don't care. So they're just going to pick out the bit of information that confirms their bias and be like, oh, this guy agrees with me. Now I know what he thinks because we're the same. And it's like, no, maybe listen and you'll get the nuance to all of this.
Yeah.
So I want to keep moving forward because I can't be here all day today.
Man, we went 30 minutes completely off the rails.
Oh no, but this is what I wanted. I wanted us to talk positively about Phase 4, but I do want to go through each of the projects and say something we actually enjoyed about it.
Okay, perfect.
And if you don't have anything, I'm not going to force you to shill, as you put it. Just say, hey, I just didn't enjoy this one.
But Benny, will Marvel still give us a check if we don't say something nice? Doesn't Marvel pay us every day?
I wish. Oh my God.
Doesn't Marvel pay me specifically to hate the Snyderverse? Doesn't Marvel give me like a big check to hate on that?
So we're going to go backwards. Okay. So we'll see how long it takes to remember some of these. So I'm going to start off with Werewolf by Night. Now, this one is one of my favorites from Phase 4 just because it tried so many different things, and I thought it was amazing.
Oh my God, I forgot to watch that. That's what's on my list. It's at the top. Okay, I'm watching that. I'm watching that tonight.
Oh, you sure you're not going to save it for 5 years?
About Logan with
the amount of comments on that video.
I saw that. I read it.
I was saving it for a rainy day.
You know what? And when it rains, I'm gonna be at home watching Logan, and you guys are gonna sit there watching the rain. I'm gonna watch it for the first time.
I love the rain. That's fine.
It's so weird that it's never rained in Alabama since Logan came out.
5 years. That's a crazy drought.
All right.
I've had it with you guys.
So, okay. But the next on this list, going in reverse, we're going to start with the TV shows because I'm looking at the wiki. So we'll do all the TV shows from reverse, and then we'll do movies. Okay. She-Hulk. Now, what I liked about She-Hulk, actually, I made the comment that I enjoyed it because it is a shitty sitcom, in my opinion. It's mediocre writing, mediocre CG, and I watch a lot of shows like that. But to make it not like a double-handed compliment.
Right.
Was it
I'm going to try to avoid those two.
Yeah. One thing I actually enjoyed about it is they didn't waste time. They introduced the insanity of the MCU. Think about it. We had Porcupine, and we had the guy like in the suit, and we saw the MCU
not
expand.
Porcupine, it was a different guy.
Okay, well, you know what I'm saying. Like, we had a lot of heroes and villains that showed up. Leapfrog or Froggy or whatever his name was. They didn't waste time explaining them. They just showed you that these kinds of things exist in the MCU. It was more world building because it was just like, and this is what day-to-day MCU life looks like nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy who's rich and just said, I'm going to be the Leapfrog. Like,
that's awesome.
What about you, Dylan?
I think She-Hulk was fun. I think it was, good to throw on. I think that the acting was top notch. I really like that it reinforced the idea that, Marvel TV should be TV. It's very episodic, and it doesn't have like a whole host of huge implications on the rest of the universe. And it made me laugh quite a few times, which was its goal. So good on you, She-Hulk.
I liked it. I thought it was funny. I had a good time laughing at it. I agree. The acting for me was top notch. I love the actors in this. I watched it with my girlfriend, who hasn't been watching much of the MCU stuff in a long time, and she used to be a big fan. And we had like some genuine laughs at it. And a lot of people, the reasons people hated it were the reasons we laughed at it. So we had a good time. And you're right. It's a very inconsequential show. Yep. Fun. It's done.
I mean, I'll be surprised if he gets a season 2, honestly, but that's another discussion for another day.
I think it's already been cleared for one, so we'll see.
Suppose the actress came out and said there wasn't, because everyone thought that. Yeah,
I'm probably thinking of Loki.
All right, Miss Marvel. What do we enjoy about Miss Marvel? I actually enjoyed it. Was very much just like a team. It was like their attempt at a CW show, but good. Like the way the first 3 episodes were. Then it went MCU on us, but the first 3 episodes felt like a real attempt at a show for teens. I liked it a lot, actually.
Yeah, this was for sure. This was the first time Marvel like sort of got TV right, and I think it was extremely refreshing. I remember watching the first episode, expecting to not like it because of all of the talk leading up with the power changes and everything.
Right.
And just how Phase 4 had been going at that point. And it was such a breath of fresh air to have such a creative, visually beautiful, well-acted, fun show. And like you said, Betty, it did like delve into MCU-ness later. But like those first 3 episodes, especially the first one, they hold a very special place in my heart in terms of Phase 4. So yeah, I really like most of Miss Marvel. It's a good time.
I'm gonna echo that exact sentiment. The first half of that show and the actors, I loved it. I loved it. It was really, really cool to see that type of community. I grew up Muslim. I'm not Muslim anymore. And it was really awesome to kind of see that world, see mosques again, but through the lens of the MCU. And I think they did it all very tastefully. It's also funny because all brown people know each other. I know people that are in that, which is wild. Like one of the hot dog guy is a comedian that I've performed with, that I'm friends with, which is just like, I didn't even realize until I was watching. I was like, is this Usman? Is this him? What's happening here? And it took me a moment to look it up later. But and all the actors are so young and they're so talented. It's one of those things where it's like you casted young people to play young people and they hit it out of the park. And then, it hit the fan later. But I love the beginning of it. I still am very, very tied to how fun the beginning of that show was.
Next up on our list is Moon Knight, which I have been adamantly lambasting. But at the end of the day, I did enjoy its exploration of like the adventure. It felt like an Indiana Jones show. I did enjoy it going into Egyptian lore and mythology. I liked the portrayal of Khonshu. And when there was action, I really didn't like how it was handled. So I got it without it being a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, I'm going to try. The costumes were good. And the 10 seconds of action we got in the last episode were very cool.
That felt backhanded.
That felt backhanded.
No, because I'm talking about a specific 10 seconds that it's the point where he's transforming between Mr. Knight and Moon Knight or something, and he's like throwing stuff and kicking people. It's during the big kaiju fight, but he's just on the ground, and it literally lasts for 13 seconds. But that section is great. Very well done.
I didn't review Moon Knight on the channel, so you guys know I liked it. I didn't have as many issues as everybody else did, so I was very thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched it with both of my roommates, mainly Isaiah and I, because we were in Los Angeles, actually with Benny, for the back half, like the finale of the show aired while we were over there. So we watched it in Airbnb, and we had like a really fun time. We think the finale left us like it felt unfulfilled as a finale, but the show leading up to it, we had a lot of fun. There were definitely some head scratching moments, right? But we laughed. We loved the action. We remember thinking like, it's crazy this isn't a Marvel show. I love the female superhero in that. I forgot what her name is, but when her wings come up and you can see just like, yeah, I think so. Yeah. She's just jacked. She's just ripped. She looks incredible, and her like wings pop out. I was super happy to see all of that. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I love Oscar Isaac's performance. Like, love it.
All right. Well, next up on our list is Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hawkeye,
man,
I thought was just a fun movie, a show. It was just fun. A lot of
I watched the
things
first
happened.
4 episodes of it. I have to finish it. I'm so sorry.
It doesn't change. It's just a fun beat by beat.
Yeah, it's just a good time.
It's like an old school buddy cop movie. Just like the grumpy guy, the grumpy old timer, the young kid on the block. You know,
I also love Haley Steinfeld. She's so fun in everything that she's in.
She's a gem. Yeah, Hawkeye. I recently rewatched Hawkeye like a month ago, and it has such a specific like vibe to it. Like it's it's Christmas time, which is already points for me because I love Christmas time. And Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner's chemistry is like weirdly really good. Like I don't expect Jeremy Renner to have good chemistry with anyone. But
anyone
sorry,
at
backhanded. But they work really well together. I feel like Haley Steinfeld's doing a lot of carrying there, but it's really well done. And I like when the writers are straddled with adapting Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run, where in a world where Hawkeye is old and has children, like what do you do? And their answer was just move all that stuff to Kate Bishop. And I was like, wow, that worked. That was such an easy translation. It's just great. The wardrobe in that show is like unmatched. Everyone looks awesome in that show. Right. But good time. I like Hawkeye.
Next up, What If? Since this is a bunch of individuals, the only thing I can really say about this is I loved a lot of the concepts they introduced into the whole entire multiverse idea. I mean, hit or miss. There's a lot of issues with this one, but there's also, I think there's a lot of fun ideas. You guys have anything you want to get deeper into that one?
I have one thing that I like about it that I like. It was Chadwick Boseman's last performance as T'Challa, and it was a really good one. It was a very strong performance. T'Challa Star-Lord was my favorite concept introduced. That's something that I think had Chadwick been around with us longer, he definitely would have been live action T'Challa Star-Lord. I fully believe that through a multiverse, whatever, they 100% they would have had him as Black Panther and maybe the Secret Wars movie, but maybe the Kang Dynasty movie. T'Challa Star-Lord is the Chadwick that we get to hang around with, because like that, it was so well done. It was so fun that he's just such an amazing charismatic guy that him in space way better than Quill in space.
I like Quill, but yeah, I mean the whole part
I
of
like
this
Quill
is,
too.
Yeah, I mean, what about you, Dylan? Anything you want to add to
it? I like the voice acting a lot. I like mostly What If. The best thing I could say about it is that it sort of opened the doors up to having the MCU get more like comic booky ideas and them being okay with doing stuff like that.
Right.
So it's good for that.
Next up, we got Loki, which I thought was a lot of fun. There was only one episode that I had anything really negative to state. I liked the idea of a hero coming back again. Yeah, with the walk episode. I like the idea of just Loki coming back and going through the same journey, but not, because he sees how it happened and kind of being this agent. It was kind of, I liked the TVA. I liked Owen Wilson's character. The whole show was great. And it set up Kang. It set up Kang to eventually arrive because he's not in that show.
Okay,
but
there it is.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah, I can agree with most of that. I think Loki has just so many positives to it. Like the acting is crazy good. The set design is really fun and refreshing. It's just got some really fun ideas in there that I feel like are executed pretty well. And there's a lot to love about that show, just like visually and from an acting perspective.
Right.
I remember being at the absolute edge of my seat during the entire thing. That's the last show that we watched in my parents' basement, like the last thing that I watched in that setting. And there's a real nostalgia to it of just like sitting in that basement and the excitement that came on. I think it was every Thursday when it aired, and we would just all get together to watch it. It was really, really, really fun. And I honestly had no complaints about it until later in retrospect that maybe I would have liked it if, I love the actress who plays, oh my God, what do they call her? What's her name? Sylvie. I love the actress who plays Sylvie, but if you're going to have Loki love himself, I think you got to jump the shark there and make Tom Hiddleston play the female Loki that he's in love with. But regardless of that, it was
that's
so
pretty
good.
jumping the shark there, just saying.
It is, but hey, if you get guys, come on, don't be
Gay
little bitches.
in
Do
my
it.
Disney movie?
Gay narcissism.
No.
Gay narcissism. I think Disney could do it. I mean, come on.
All right, next up we got Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I actually loved for what they did with Winter Soldier in this one. I mean, I had I liked what Winter Soldier went through, his journey. Falcons just felt like an extended ending to Endgames. Like, oh, I got the shield. Sure. I don't know if I want the shield now. Let's go 6 episodes so I can decide I want the shield. So I liked what they did with Winter Soldier, though, like really exploring him, because I mean, he had nothing but Cap. So you're getting to see like what his life is post Cap now, you know?
No, and he didn't even get to enjoy his time with Cap since he's been back. He has nothing. He has always had nothing.
Yeah.
Bucky has a sad little life, and I loved that show.
Yeah.
A lot of people hated on it. I had feelings about how it ended. I thought the last like several sequences were like not my favorite, but then the show itself, oh my God. And here's a backhanded comment. If the show had ended with Captain, you know how it changed the tagline from Falcon and the Winter Soldier to Captain America and the Winter Soldier? Captain America and the White Wolf, to show that he is no longer the Winter Soldier because they give him that name and he's grown past it. I would have loved that. I think that's like one of the only tweets I've ever had that got like above 30 likes at the time, and I was like, this should be this title, and I like tweeted out a photoshopped image I made of it. But I loved it. I loved it so much.
Oh, I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to add to it, Dylan. My bad.
It's fine. I enjoy it. I need to rewatch it. This is getting into the territory of like I don't fully remember.
Well, then what about WandaVision?
I'd love to rewatch.
I liked WandaVision because
fun.
of the fact I liked the way they broke into the TV eras and how it came back to her psyche and how that I liked the whole story.
Yeah.
In it. I mean, honestly, my biggest complaint about WandaVision was that the first 2 episodes should have been 1 episode and that the finale shouldn't have just broken down into a magic CG thing and fight. But I still think it was a great show. So
yeah.
I think
up until the ending, I was all on board. I thought it was my favorite.
It's fair. I think this was a great start to Phase 4, despite it not originally being the start to Phase 4. It coming out in that way was I think good because it like Phase 4's mantra for the first bit of it, and probably looking back on it, was just like trying new things, and the show is very different from what the MCU had been before until it wasn't. But
right.
I think there's a lot to like in WandaVision. I think just as another, similar to She-Hulk, just like another fun idea to like put on that's consequential for characters but inconsequential for the larger universe. I think that's what the TV shows should be, and that's WandaVision nails that for the most part.
Yeah, and I have a question for you guys just in the middle of this. We're not going to make it run too long, but Agatha Harkness is the spinoff from the WandaVision show. Would you guys have rather had Jimmy Woo solving mysteries in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Because I was so shocked they didn't pick that up, or they didn't even try to, and that Agatha, which like I don't really understand the need for an Agatha Harkness show, but I'm excited to see what it ends up being. But I was like, that show it's the first show that I was like, spin-off potential is here. Not the usual gimmicky where like, give us a Namor movie, give us this. And it's like, no, I want this. This is what I want right now.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the Agatha show because Eric Andre is in it, and Eric Andre in a Disney project sounds crazy. So.
Sounds like a wild idea.
I'm going to skip over Black Panther because we have literally both released my thoughts and Huston's thoughts already, so you can
That's
get
true.
our full, and we both
thoughts.
enjoyed it. So there's plenty of us already enjoying that movie.
I love that movie.
Thor: Love and Thunder, which I will arguably state is the worst movie of Phase 4.
You can't say that.
I can.
We're only talking about positive.
Right, I was going to say, but there is some positivity here. Crap.
Okay.
I'm going to
I'll start this one, Benny. You sit there and stew for a second.
No, I got this. Hold on. I got this. Okay. What I liked about Thor: Love and Thunder is that it was finally a movie in the MCU that really didn't tie into anything or be a part of anything. It really was just joke after joke after joke, going all the way to the end. And regardless of how I feel about it in the post, while watching it, it was a good just popcorn flick. Oh, Thor's going to do this. Oh, Thor's going to do that. Like, it was fun. And that's where we're going to leave it.
Yeah, Hassan, you go. I need more time.
Okay. Take your time. I disagree that it's the worst movie in Phase 4. I don't feel that sentiment. I think it was an incredibly lackluster film because we had such an incredible entry one movie ago by the same creative team. That said, it has really funny jokes in it. A lot of the visuals are really stunning. I thought Natalie Portman did beautifully in this role. I'm glad to see her back on screen. I really enjoyed her presence. I thought her and Hemsworth honestly have more chemistry in this one than they had in the other ones they did. That's for sure. I thought I would have liked to see more of Christian Bale, but it was awesome that we got to see Bale in a comic book movie again. He said he'd never do one, and he did one. And maybe we didn't lean into it, but he looked awesome. Her muscles looked awesome. I just see somebody in the chat saying it was CGI muscles. I saw the behind the scenes pics. If they enhanced it with CGI, Natalie Portman got yoked for this role.
Oh yeah, she got huge for the movie. If you actually go
she
look
absolutely
at it.
did. And yeah, there's touch up CGI on everything because that's how movies work, guys. Like they touch up. Some Chris Hemsworth has an 8-pack that goes here. They bring it down to here, so it's symmetrical sometimes. But I liked a lot of it. And the humor was fine.
If you don't know how muscles work, just because you want to look like The Rock does not mean you will get to The Rock. Once you start developing your muscles, they may not be as defined as you want them.
Genetics in there. Too.
That's
There's
what I'm
so
saying.
much genetics that goes into
like,
it.
I saw an old skit that I thought was hilarious, where it was like, "Do you know how I look so amazing?" Genetics. I guess that's
Right.
literally what it comes down to.
That's why when I was talking about Kumail Nanjiani earlier from Eternals, I was so excited to see him with that physique because that is a very hard to attain physique amongst Southeast Asian people. Like it just is. Versus like my friend Christopher, he's African American. He has literally had a 6-pack since we were children. And I have worked out maybe 1,000 times more than him and had 10 times. This guy drinks grease off a pan. When I tell you he eats like crap, that's an understatement. And he always has a 6-pack. Genetics. Like it's awesome.
Fair.
But Natalie Portman got yoked for this, and I just thought the dynamics were fun for a lot of. They had a lot of really fun jokes, and also like Korg being with Dwayne The Rock at the end was like I thought that was one of the funniest, stupidest little bits.
Moving forward here, because we're getting a little bit longer, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Dylan didn't have a positive thing to say about Thor.
Guys.
Do you? Oh yeah, you didn't go. You skipped it. You got anything?
I was. Don't come back to me.
All right, we'll move on. I said you could pass. So.
Oh wait, I had one. But I like the idea of making making the black and white like dimension black and white. I think that was a fun choice.
Okay. Doesn't have to be anything big. Can be just a cinematography.
That's the one thing.
Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I actually enjoyed the idea that we were finally exploring the multiverse in a mainline movie. Spider-Man No Way Home did kick it off, but they all came to our world. So even though Strange only went to 2 worlds, Pizza Papa and in the Illuminati, or is that one world?
Pizza
Either way.
that was the same, I think.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember actually.
It was the same world, yes.
Yeah.
They did
either way,
go
we
to a
finally,
bunch of them, but we
discovered that we
didn't
can go and do things. I did enjoy that about Doctor Strange. I also really like Sam Raimi's cinematography for it, the weird angles, the kind of getting creepy with Wanda. That stuff was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think they subdued Sam Raimi on that film because
they did.
He wanted to be worse.
Despite Twitter convincing you that Disney finally let a director off the leash. No. It's still a Disney movie.
Yeah.
But compliments, guys. We're here to be nice.
Sorry, I really like the classic Sam Raimi. Doctor Strange becomes a skeleton and has a wing full of nightmare creatures. That was sick.
See, they did that regardless of it getting to China.
Yeah,
that's true.
I liked.
Well, if the skeletons were gay, then it would have been cut, but we don't know. So
yeah, they were boning, but in a different way. So that's a good one, man. Come on, clip that. Send that to me. I like that. So Xochitl Gomez was great. I liked her as America Chavez. I'm excited to see her in a lot more stuff. Also, fantastic representation. Sam Raimi's directorial style.
Takes.
It was funny to see. It was fun to see like the camera pans and like the swiping across the screen stuff that is Sam Raimi is known for. Elizabeth Olsen's performance hit it out of the goddamn park. It's crazy that they didn't lean into this more and make it a 50-50 Doctor Strange and the Scarlet Witch movie or whatever, because that's what it was. It was awesome. I liked the villainousness of her, and I think Elizabeth Olsen portrayed that beautifully. The suit looked incredible. Yeah, those are the main things. I like the cameos. I'm one of the people that I liked seeing John Krasinski as Reed Richards. I was really excited about that because that was my fan casting. So I was like, hey, it's on screen even for 2 seconds. And seeing Patrick Stewart again was awesome. Also, wait, I didn't even talk about it. Captain fucking Carter.
Yeah,
Haley Atwell looked
getting
amazing.
cut in half.
It's true.
Hey man.
Spoilers.
So, nah, never mind. I'm not gonna say. I was about to say something very messed up. But she looked incredible.
God.
And Haley Atwell is one of my favorite actors, and I've always wondered why didn't they utilize her more? And I like that now we've established that Captain Carter does exist in the multiverse. If we ever want to bring Haley Atwell back into the fold, that's how we'll do it. And she looks good in the suit, and she physically looks the part to me at least. So.
All right, we're going to blitz through these last 4 because I got to go. Spider-Man. I mean, we all loved that one.
1,000 out of 10, the most amazing movie I've ever seen.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's anything what did you guys like about Spider-Man? The movie.
When Andrew Garfield said the line when he's like, I lost Gwen. She was my MJ. That was the most emotional I think I've ever been in a film in a theater because it really resonated with me.
Well, I mean, it helps that you're only 12 years old, so you grew up with that movie.
Shut the fuck up, man.
Eternals. I actually really loved the idea of it being more of a serious tone movie, kind of building up a team that we've never heard of before in the MCU and expanding the universe. Thoughts?
Hassan?
Kumail Nanjiani was great. His dynamic with his little sidekick was really, really funny. Angelina Jolie looked awesome in her suit, and her dynamic with I don't remember his name was really, really cool. I liked the way he forced bitch slapped her to calm her down, but the hits in that movie looked really good. Like the motion in it, you'd see a punch and the way the camera would move and stuff. I think it's Jessica Zhao was the director of that. Hats off to her because that was incredible. And the super speed in that one, maybe the quintessential super speed that I've ever seen on screen. Looked incredible.
Does not top Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, but that's a different discussion for another day.
Yeah, Betty. Okay, move on.
You haven't even watched it, Mr. Hater.
Yeah,
over here.
I have. I told
you know what?
I
I don't believe you watched any Zack Snyder project. I think you go to TikTok, grab all the opinions, and then now you're echoing them as a parent. Anyway, Shang-Chi, positive.
Amazing. It was a fantastic movie. I have nothing.
I love
that movie's
Shang-Chi.
great. The fighting in it was awesome. It's great.
And we're
great
gonna end this
action.
on Black Widow. I actually really liked Black Widow. I don't feel there was a need for the giant CGI finale, but I thought it was a fun spy movie until the giant CGI finale where people are defying physics.
Yeah.
I like Florence Pugh.
Yeah, I was gonna say Elena and Red
She
Guardian
did a good job too.
were great additions.
Red Guardian as well. Yeah.
To the MCU.
Those were good things.
All right.
Yes.
And that is the positives about Phase 4. We've gotten through it, and Dylan almost got through all of them. Still didn't tell us what he liked about Eternals.
I agreed with some of what Hassan said. I liked Angelina Jolie.
He liked the first MCU sex
I gotta
scene.
go,
He
so you're
DM'd
getting
me,
away
bro.
with it.
No.
Thank you for watching Absolutely Marvel at DC. My name's Betty, that is Dylan, and that is Hassan, and we will see you next time right here.
Bye, guys.